You're tuned in to Don't Waste the Chaos, where we unravel the intricacies of small to mid-sized business management. I'm your host, Kerri Roberts, and today we're diving into the topic near and dear to every leader's heart, and that is employee engagement. It's the secret sauce of workplace success. Now, before we dive into tactics on how to positively impact employee engagement, let's break down why it's crucial for businesses of every size. I know a lot of my listeners are startup founders and small business owners. So many times the focuses on HR practices like employee engagement goes by the wayside as these businesses scale. So today is for everyone, but especially you. So picture this, a team of fired up employees, brimming with ideas. They're tackling challenges head on. That's the magic of employee engagement. It's like rocket fuel for productivity, innovation, and customer satisfaction. Engaged employees aren't just clocking in. They're invested in the mission, driven by purpose, and eager to make a difference. Business owners should prioritize improving employee satisfaction and engagement for several very important reasons. The first of which is increased productivity, which we all want. Engaged and satisfied employees are more motivated, focused, and committed to their work. This heightened sense of dedication translates into increased productivity, ultimately driving business growth and success. I've heard so many people say, you just can't find anyone who wants to work anymore, or you just can't find good help anymore. And that's not true. Employees, what they do need is a sense of purpose and a connection to a goal that serves the greater good. And when that's present, you'll see your team members rowing the boat all in the same direction. It's a beautiful thing. Next is higher retention rates. Investing in employee satisfaction and engagement fosters a sense of loyalty and attachment to your company. Satisfied employees are less likely to seek opportunities elsewhere, reducing turnover rates and the associated cost of recruitment and training. You and I both know how hard it is to recruit these days. We don't want to fool around and lose our favorite employees by not having intentionality with him. The data on cost of replacing an employee is all over the place. Your best bet to estimate is consider losing an employee is going to cost your company about 1/2 to 2 times the employee's annual salary. I read a SHRM study the other day that stated that turnover rate for the US is around 18%. Do you know your rate in your organization? Are you on target with that national average? And if you are, you need to account for 18% turnover in your budget and the impact of those dollars. And if you're above 18% turnover, friend, you need a strategy to address it, like yesterday. Okay, next let's talk improved customer experience. Happy employees provide better customer service and are more likely to go the extra mile to ensure customer satisfaction. A positive employee experience translates into a positive customer experience, leading increased customer loyalty and retention. Your customers and clients or patients can tell if your employees do not care. It's palpable, and that puts your clients at risk, and none of us can afford that. Another reason why business owners should prioritize improving employee satisfaction and engagement is enhanced innovation and creativity. Engaged employees feel empowered to share ideas, provide feedback, and contribute to problem-solving efforts within the organization. This culture of collaboration and innovation drives creativity and helps businesses stay competitive in a rapidly evolving market, which we are all in. If no one is picking up their head to pause and think because they care about the future of the company and the future of the organization and their future at the organization, you've got troubles and your bottom line is going to show it. And the next one is an obvious one, but we know everyone's still talking about it. Do you care about it? It's a positive workplace culture. So a focus on employee satisfaction and engagement cultivates a positive workplace culture, which is characterized by trust, respect, and mutual support. Isn't that what we all say we've got in our values? That's what we're hiring for. Do we have that in our company? So this in turn attracts top talent, fosters teamwork, and boosts morale across the organization. I've mentioned it before on the pod, but I read a book early on in my HR tenure that has had a huge impact on me as a person and as a professional. It was The Speed of Trust by Stephen M. R. Covey. I'll link the book in the show notes. And if you want someone to come lead your group through the content, I'd be happy to do that. But this book is a game changer. The content is a game changer. Talking about trust in your organization is a game changer. The impact it has, the book has on trust and therefore employee satisfaction is huge. But even just like talking about it, saying you care about it, and telling your employees you're working through it, that's a great first step. Okay, and lastly, don't we all want a better reputation internally and externally, and then also better employer branding? So businesses known for prioritizing employee satisfaction and engagement are more attractive to prospective employees. A positive reputation as an employer of choice can help attract and retain top talent, giving the business a competitive edge in the job market. As business owners, we are truly in the business of serving multiple customer segments. We regularly think of our clients, but our employees are our internal clients. We are responsible for being a great employer. And if you don't see that as your responsibility or calling as a business owner, then your employees can likely tell. Overall, business owners who invest in improving employee satisfaction and engagement reap numerous benefits, from increased productivity and retention to enhanced innovation and a positive workplace culture. By prioritizing employees' well-being and professional growth, businesses can build a strong foundation for long-term success and sustainability. So, how do we stoke these flames of engagement in our business? Let's unpack some actionable strategies, starting with probably my favorite, clear communication. This is key. So from company updates to individual feedback, keeping the channels open builds trust, fosters transparency, and keeps everyone rowing in that same direction. So what are some specific ways to provide clear communication? I'd start with clear expectations in your job post. And I'd also include pay ranges in those. Then I'd have clear job descriptions that are reviewed with regularity, not just documents that you have on a shelf. I'd have company goals that are clear and communicated. And those would have trickle-down goals that cascade to the department level and then to the individual role level. I'd also conduct annual employee engagement surveys so the company can know how they're performing. And then, when I'm talking about clarity, share with the employee population what the company is doing well, and then any shortcomings that were identified and how those will be addressed. I also like to see regular and consistent messaging from senior leaders and their presence in the organization. Also, regular and consistent check-ins with the employee's manager. All of these things matter, folks. We can put a whole plan together on them. So next, let's talk growth and development. Show your team you're invested in their journey by offering training, mentorship, and opportunities to level up. After all, a rising tide lifts all boats. And what is it? Why do I keep using boat analogies today? So 60-day check-ins, I recommend for sure. When a new employee starts, I want you to do a 60-day check-in for the new hire to ensure the employee understands what he or she is doing right and where the opportunities for improvement are. I recently implemented these for a client, and the client was like, oh, my managers cannot do one more thing. Which is fine. I get it. They're working managers. Not everybody's just leading. A lot of our, especially in small to mid-sized businesses, a lot of our managers are actually doing day-to-day tasks as well. So here's how I set it up. I got in their HR payroll system. I developed another performance review per se, and I called it 60-day check-in. So at the 60th day of tenure, the HR payroll technology automatically sends this communication to the new hire 60 days post. And it just comes with a little intro message that says, hey, congrats on meeting your 60th day with XYZ company. We're so happy you're here. Please complete the following survey about your experience on your first 60 days. This will then go to human resources, and the information will then be shared constructively with your supervisor. So what happens is they fill out this questionnaire, and I believe I put around 15 questions in it. Then at the end, it kicks to the HR person. The HR person reviews it. And it's questions like, how do you feel like you're performing? Do you have clear expectations? Do you have the tools and resources that you need? Do you feel like you've been properly trained? This is one of the questions I like the most. What was the best feedback that you've received? What's one piece of encouragement you've gotten and from whom? So I asked some pretty specific questions and then some general questions. So then the HR person has a time to review on all of that. And then they compile anything that they think is actionable. They reach out to that employee's direct supervisor and say, first of all, here's the attached, read this. Here are the themes that I've identified. Will you be sitting down with the employee, or would you like me to, or should we do it together, depending on what the feedback is? So if there's something that really needs to be addressed, I'd recommend pulling HR in. Otherwise, if it's just like the employee's doing well, they're plugging along and the supervisor agrees with that, they can sit down after that and say like, hey, thanks for your feedback. So glad you're here. Here's a few things I would expand on. Here's things that we're going to address. It looks like you wanted some additional training, or this person gave you great feedback. Love that. Let's formalize that relationship. It is an excellent way to have clear, consistent communication while you are focusing on that employee's growth and development. They will feel like you really care about them. It's so beautiful. I could talk about this all day long. If you want me to implement this in your company, I can totally do it. Okay, speaking of feedback, let's talk about annual performance reviews. If you want to focus on growth and development, it's not just an annual performance review. That performance review on any area where that person is performing, let's say, below. So if it's a 5-point scale, which I recommend, if they're performing below like a 1 or a 2, we're going to have an action plan or a gap analysis or an employee performance improvement plan, whatever you want to call it. We're going to have that alongside that performance review to help them know how to get to where they're trying to go. Or if that employee believes, whether this is true or not, it's another thing, but that employee believes that they are ready for a raise or a promotion, you want to sit down and explain, here's where you're at, here's where you're trying to go, here's a gap analysis between the two if there is a gap, to explain why they haven't been promoted already. So helping them understand how to get there. Career ladders are huge to show how to grow within an organization. Learning and development programs in general for emerging leaders. I developed a leadership development program, general employees on business acumen. I hear a lot of feedback that employees don't know, younger employees don't know how to communicate or don't have some of the basics. An employee like business foundations or business acumen class would be excellent to help employees understand what the expectations are. We can't just plot people in our workforce and then say, hey, you're not working out. Like, have we given them any training to succeed? And then also Women in Leadership program. There's all kinds of learning and development programs you can implement in your organization. Okay, next is recognition. This is a great way to impact employee engagement. It's the ultimate morale booster. Celebrating wins, big and small, and then watch your team's motivation skyrocket. Remember, a simple thank you goes a long way. So if you're rolling out a new initiative or new tech, say thank you and give something thoughtful to show that you appreciate the extra effort during that time. Make reoccurring calendar reminders for birthdays and anniversaries. Don't forget the power of a written note. Give shout outs for innovation via email or internal communication boards. But on top of all of that, it's great if you understand how each of your people likes to be recognized and do it with intentionality. If you have read Love Languages by Gary Chapman, which I highly recommend if you're in any type of relationship, there's actually a book called Love Languages in the Workplace. I'll link it in the show notes. Another excellent book, very practical. But here's an example. I had an employee that was experiencing a large level of frustration and just didn't feel valued. I kept hearing her say she just didn't feel valued. She didn't fit in. And I felt like I was just loving on her so much that other people were going to think that I preferred her over other people. So kind of as a last ditch effort with this employee, I put our whole team through this love languages or languages of appreciation in the workplace. And oh my gosh, it was so eye-opening. What I learned was she wanted to be appreciated and valued by her teammates. She felt valued and appreciated by me. I mean, not trying to give myself on the pat on the back because I completely missed the fact that she felt like her colleagues didn't respect her in her role. And so that was causing a ton of issues. So for me, understanding how she wanted to be appreciated, which was developing a relationship with her peers and feeling valued by them. So we need to take the time to understand how people want to be appreciated, who they're needing to be appreciated by. I understand that takes work, but these people are worth it. Again, let's go back, retention. If we lose them, we are losing somewhere between half and 2 times their annual salary to replace them. It's worth the work and the time. Okay, let me move on. So I'm sure you've caught on, but work-life balance isn't just a buzzword at this point. It's a game changer. And a lot of employees are screaming it from the rooftops. So empower your team to thrive both in and out of the office with things like flexible schedules, remote workplace options, and ample time for rest and rejuvenation. I was part of an organization years ago that had nonstop happy hours and hacky sack tournaments and all of this fun. But what ended up happening was that takes away from the time that people are at work. So then they're working longer hours and yeah, they're building relationships with their colleagues. But what ends up happening after that kind of fun wears off and the new t-shirts fade, it's like, I need to get my work done while I'm at work. So that way I can get out of here and spend time with people that I've chosen to be in relationship with, not circumstantial relationships. I'm not saying relationships in the workplace don't matter, but I'm just saying if we are creating such a distraction while people are in the workplace that they can't get home in the evenings, that's a problem. They're going to feel like they don't have work-life balance, even though you've made inside of the workplace really fun. You still need them to get work done. So we want to make sure we've got a balance in that area. Okay, let's talk RTO. If you don't know what RTO is, I'm sure that your employees do. So many employers are nixing remote work right now and having RTO or return to the office mandates. I'm going to do a future episode on this. And while you're probably tired of hearing about it, and most people are tired of talking about it, employees are not getting what they want in this area. So this conversation is not going away. The data in 2024 shows more companies are going to mandate RTO. Now, those are in a lot of the larger areas, which to me screams real estate costs. But anyway, I'm going to do an upcoming podcast episode on this because it's just not going to die. So at a minimum, think about the flexibility you want and need in your own life and offer that to your employees. When leaders are like, well, yeah, I run in and out at meetings and stuff like that, and I do my appointments, but I'm in a leadership role. It's like, well, okay, your employees have to go to the dentist too. So don't make your policies vague. Help them to understand how they can be flexible. And when I say that you should set the example, if your personal relationships are failing and your body is unhealthy, and your mental health is sloppy, then maybe use somebody else's standard for flexibility as a standard while you search for a therapist and get yourself in order. How's that for some truth and love? We want to set the example for our people. And if you are an unhealthy workaholic, that doesn't mean you should expect your team to be that way. Get yourself in order and let your employees have some flexibility. It used to be compensation and good benefits. Good benefits are falling by the wayside. In the traditional sense we used to think of them, it is flexibility. Now, that's what folks are talking about. Okay, now that I got a little sassy, let's talk about cultivating a positive work environment where diversity is celebrated, collaboration is king, and laughter is encouraged. This is going to positively impact employee satisfaction and engagement. Remember, a happy team is a high-performing team. Just yesterday, I was conducting a new hire orientation meeting for one of my clients. That's not a practice I usually do for a client, as I try to stay out of the day-to-day, but that's what that company needs from me right now, and I aim to please. So we were talking about diversity, and I know DEIB budgets are being cut, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging budgets are being cut. I have personal opinions on that I'm only going to share on a one-on-one meeting with you because I don't aim to be inflammatory in that area. That said, When I'm talking about diversity and collaborative environments, what I'm talking about here is ensuring everyone can show up as their true selves, that our quirkiness doesn't have to be left at the door, and people can truly innovate and make mistakes without fear. I have watered down my own self and my own personality in many different organizations. As a matter of fact, there's only one place that I've worked since I started my working life that I feel like I was fully able to be myself. I want that for the people around me. I want that for myself. Our days are too short to be faking it 8 hours a day. So we need to focus on these environments for people. Okay, last but certainly not least, on how we make a positive impact on employee engagement in our businesses, I'll tag on to what I was just saying. We want to lead with purpose and authenticity. Be the kind of leader you'd want to follow, honest, empathetic, unwavering in your commitment. So do the Enneagram, do the Myers-Briggs, take the DISC, or whatever assessment you can get your hand on. Take the self-assessment in the Speed of Trust book that I mentioned earlier. Learn about yourself and then encourage others to do the same. Model the behavior. If you've got kids, be the parent that you're proud of. Nourish and move your body. Show folks how to live and work and thrive. You are their leader. You either have positional authority so they watch you, or you have influence so they watch you. Regardless, they are watching you. Give this life your best shot, and you'll inspire some others to do the same. And there you have it, my roadmap to unlocking the full potential of employee engagement in your business. Remember, it's not just about business success. It's about building a workplace where chaos is embraced, creativity flourishes, and every team member feels valued and empowered and engaged and satisfied. Till next time.